What's up? What's up? What's up? You already know what it is. It's your boy Garcia back in the building with another special Talk Your Barber Shit. I got a guest that's gonna come up here, do his thing, share his wisdom, share his thoughts, share his growth on my platform, Talk Your Barber Shit. So I'm just gonna let Instagram do what it do. Start sending out that notification. Let everybody be aware that we will be talking that barber shit today with Mr. Sean Cuts Hair. So let's sit back for a minute. Let Instagram do what he do. What's up, man? Appreciate it. I see you. I see you here with me. Appreciate it. So, dude, also, I appreciate you guys sending out and letting other people know the tune in. That's how you keep this growing, how you keep it moving forward, how we keep getting more guests and more people to tune in, watch the show, hear these amazing guests of mine share their journey, share their growth. Not talk about where they at now, but talk about, how they got started, where it started, what kept them moving forward, what kept them elevated, leveling up. And then we gonna shine on the things that they're doing now. But it's always a beginning to where you want to go. And that's what I like to share with my platform. I like to talk about the beginning, the transition, the hard parts, the growing pains, and then fighting through it and being who they are today. So appreciate it. I see everybody tuning in. I see you jumping on. Please share it. Please let everybody know. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this guest that I have today. I know I've been getting DMs like, oh man, your platform about to blow up. I say everybody that has been on my show has been a great experience, a learning experience, because everybody has a story, everybody has a journey, everybody has a growth. So I know, we look at the numbers, we look at the following and all that stuff like that, but sometimes with someone that's at 900, 1,000, 2K, has a lot going on and building a lot and can share a lot. So don't always look at them high rated numbers or all the people that's following. Listen to the story, listen to the growth, listen to the ambition. That's what it's about, the journey. So that's what I like to share about this platform that I created called Talk Your Barber Shit. And I know people be like, damn, they about to go in there and talk bad. No, it's Talk Your Barber Shit, about elevation, leveling up, and growing. That's what it's about. So I see Sean on, so I'm going to send him that notification so we can get started, so we can talk that barber shit. Let's go. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hey, Sean, if you can, send me an invite. I'm trying to see if I can find you on here, but it's not allowing me to. All right, there you go. All right, I sent that request back, so you should be able to jump on now. Let me know.
Oh, I got that close up.
How
What's wrong with
you
it?
doing, sir?
Man, I'm good. Just popped in the shop to do this. So it's a little loud at the house. So two kids running around. So I just popped up to the studio.
It's a little bit loud over here, too. We got some work going on at the house myself. I guess down a little. Hopefully, we don't have any hiccups where it gets out and you hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I just want to, foremost, I appreciate you coming aboard. Uh, I got a chance to see you in Vegas, the platform and everything that everybody been reaching out like, oh, podcast is about to be crazy. But I tell them like this, just a connection. It's all about being on my platform, how to grow, how to elevate, how to level up, talk about the industry in the way all, and that's there with my platform. I know we got that Talk Your Barber Shit, and people think that you know, it's about negativity. It's no negativity about my platform. I just like to understand the people that already laid a level in the industry, leveling up, and those coming in the industry and want to know how to do it too. And they're following you and they following these others and they seeing the things that you're doing. But I like to talk in what got you, what made you say, I want to pick up these, continue to pick up these, and to do the things that you do sharing with sharing, going. You, I didn't hear you. I think somebody was trying to click in on your phone.
I can hear everything you're saying.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it paused for a minute. Did you hear?
It's still cutting in and out, though. I don't want to miss. I don't want to not be able to tell what you're saying.
um, let me see. I feel like I got good bars over here. Yeah. How is it tracking? Because you're clear to me. Am I clear to you?
Yeah, but your voice is cutting in and out.
Okay, okay.
Like now it's not, but it does every now and then.
Okay. Well, that's one thing about when you're doing this on IG Live.
Yeah, for sure. No, it seems good now. I switched networks. We got a guest network and a password protected one just for us. So I switched to the other one
Okay.
at the shop.
Well, I'm gonna jump into it so I don't hold you
Yeah.
up. Got things that you got going. But all the people that's tuning in, this is all for you too. So you can actually leave comments, ask questions. We want to don't just sit here and watch it and share a lot of verbiage. We want everybody to connect. So ask your questions. If you want to connect, ask the questions, barbering industry and how to get food to go to or how barber shop, you know. So Sean, like I always like to talk about the beginning. Like what day or is it family bloodline that into you? Like this all this visionary who you are started from when you decided that hey, I want to get in this barber.
Yeah, so I actually had no hair anything in my family at all. I have a cousin that's a Cosmo, so I guess I lied a little bit, but not somebody close to me. So it wasn't something I grew up around or had experienced at all. And I had been to a barber like way back, like in the '90s. Like I got a little horseshoe flat top, like way back, like not the cool barbers. So I had no ties whatsoever to it. But every job I ever had, I wanted like to be not replaceable, right? Like a lot of jobs, everybody's at the same job. You're easily replaceable. I wanted something. I didn't really know this, but I always I think was looking for something that was gonna not necessarily pay me money wise, but like the amount of work I put in, I would get something back in return, right? Or I had a open ceiling, and so I had never found that. And my dad actually used to challenge me. I was in the restaurant industry up until I was like 20, 25. And he always challenged me like, man, I just feel like there's a place for you that you're going to thrive and go beyond the normal, because I was a restaurant, I was a manager for a couple different big name restaurants, which was, working my way up, but there was still a ceiling. And so actually, I think I was probably 24, 25. I had a guy I worked with at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he kind of in a funny way was like, "Yo, like you're a cool dude. You got tattoos, but like your haircut's not good. Like you got to go to my barber." And I hadn't been to a barber since I was probably 10 years old. So long story short, went to the barber, loved it. My friends started wanting to go, hung out down there all the time, and I could see that was kind of something I thought I could thrive in. I'm good with my hands. I'm good at figuring stuff out. That's one of the things I wish I could go back and sit in the room when I decided to do it, because I don't remember much more than that. Something at the job was I was getting tired of. The barber I got close with and asked him if he thought I could do it, and he said, "Yeah, I think anybody can cut hair. Anybody can learn to cut hair, but where you go with it is what's up. That's what's going to be up to you." And I signed up for barber school, so it's pretty cool. I like to tell that story and say, the last thing, unfortunately, He had some problems with addiction and stuff like that. So literally the last conversation I had with him, that's what was said was, yeah, you can become a barber. Where you take it is up to you. And so I'm proud of that being the statement that got me into it, and then to take it to where I've taken it to, I think it's pretty cool.
Now that's dope. I mean, to have someone who was really close with to just that ability to say, hey, if you want it, you just got to go and get it.
That's right.
Don't play around with it. Serious about it. Make it true. Make it dear to your heart. That's what you did. We all can see that because where you at. Let's talk about your hometown. Like where you at now. Like did you bounce around a lot, or are you pretty much in the same area that where all this bar took place? Like what is it? The people that you see in your community, as far as you being a barber, what is it that you love about being right where you're at?
Yeah, so I'm in a smallish town in Kentucky. So Kentucky itself is not huge, and I think we're the third or fourth biggest city, but it's still like 60,000.
Okay.
So pretty small. Barbering here is very traditional. Our state board is very traditional. Majority of the shops in town are using vacuum clippers, like Oster 76 with a vacuum attachment. So they don't know that podcasts about barbering exist, and CT Barber Expo, Babyliss, they don't know about Babyliss tools. Like, it's so old school here. So as much as that kind of sucks, it's actually made it very easy. Going back to when I started, it made it very easy for me to come in and just take over, really. So I'm not one to talk about myself and brag, but I definitely came in and took advantage of Instagram and YouTube and saw what was elsewhere and started implementing it, and it just blew up crazy. So I have 2 locations now, only shop in town with 2 locations, and each of mine have more chairs than any other shop in town. And we just do something, it's not so different. If you're like you and you go to shows and you see it, it's not that different. But to what we have here, it's very different. So I think it's cool. I feel like I've kind of pioneered. I didn't come up with it, but I've taken what I've seen all over from the West Coast to the East Coast, Florida, some of the stuff that's going on in barbering, especially, from 10 years ago, and I brought it here. I'm in the Midwest, so we're the last to get everything regardless. Like style trends, anything like that, we're the last to get it. So I think I kind of pioneered that. And I've just been fortunate to have some guys come up from under, similar to how I got into it. All of my staff, more or less, is friends, family, clients that turned into barbers in the same exact way. So I've been fortunate with that, and I think they just caught on. They saw, like, man, Sean's doing something different that we haven't seen here. They saw how much I loved it, and they wanted to jump on board. And, of course, I said, man, go get your license, and we'll run it up. So now I have 16 barbers between 2 shops, and like 12 or 13 of them are friends and family and used to be clients. So it's pretty cool.
That's dope. I follow Clutch, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what I always like to ask people, like, we have all these branding, uh, fade in, fade out, RC cut. Like, what made you come up with that hair? Like, what made
you said Sean Cut's hair? What made me come up with it? Yeah. That's kind of a funny story. If you go way back to before I was even a barber, I don't even know where else this would have been, but maybe my email, definitely my Xbox name. There was a car company that worked on Japanese. They had parts for Japanese cars, and it was called Weak Sauce. Yeah. And their shorthand, like, they had a license plate frame, WEKSOS. So I don't know if I'll be backwards, but
yeah.
That was like that became my Xbox name. It became like my nickname. And when I went to barber school, I wanted to change my Instagram, and it was like Weak Sauce S2000 because I had an S2000. And I'm like, all right, Sean the Barber. I'm like, nah, that's not cool. And I'm like, what about Weak Sauce the Barber? So I did that first.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward a few years, I have a few opportunities where I'm on stage just getting a haircut, or just in these certain opportunities where I'm getting shouted out.
Yeah.
And most people couldn't say it right just glancing at it. They'd
Right.
say West Coast,
Yeah.
or I don't know. It wasn't easy, right? So that's something I preach. Like, your Instagram name needs to be easy to spell, easy to remember. It doesn't need to be 34796 at the end, no underscores. Like, it needs to be simple. So I learned my lesson. I was at CT, and Chris Bosio was cutting my hair in front of probably almost 1,000 people, and shouted me out, and I didn't get nothing from it, and that made me realize how important that really was. So I went back to the drawing board. I don't know that there's anybody specifically that like inspired me to go exactly that route, but I played around with it. Sean faded, or whatever, and Sean cuts hair it just hit, and I went with it. So I had to make it easy for everybody.
No, that's the reason I went there, because you said everything the way that I wanted you to say it. Because we're in this industry now, especially with social media, we're trying to clicks. Sometimes when we create a name, we try to go really outrageous, but we want to be different from everybody else.
Yeah.
Sometimes being very simple for the, like, you had a name, somebody shout out, maybe people catch it right away, or they didn't know how to spell it, or what. But if you're trying to get yourself, trying to get your network out there, keeping it simple, better route. And I'm glad you.
Yeah, it goes with everything. I mean, I work with a few brands now, and when we talk about doing different things, like you have to make it easy as possible these days. I hate to say it. I don't know what it is. I think it's more lazy than that people are dumb, but like, you got to make it simple. Like, in whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, you can't make it too many steps or too hard to remember. You just got to simplify things. I think because the attention span is so quick, everything's moving so fast these days. It's like, you got to make it simple if you want to, achieve whatever it is you're trying to do.
I mean, I know you've been out the game of whole barber school and the whole taking the test exam and all that stuff. That's dinosaur.
Yeah.
But with something that you spoke on earlier, so you said in your hometown, that level is still structured to this day at a high level. Like, you got to make sure you have a license if you want to be in the shop, and especially you, the shop owner. I know. Do you do apprentice to go strictly to school first, get the license, then come and work under you? Like, industry now, and I don't like for. We don't have to take you just take the written stuff like that. But when I practice written, now to how you feel about how they're shifting things, education, and knowing that you're a barber and in the field speaking education, what is it that you feel like is something that you feel to express a lot
more? I think that's a big answer for me to give you. Really, I think in my state, you have to have a license. You have to go to school. That's it. No apprenticeship. So I'm a big fan of apprenticeships. When people ask me, like, yo, should I go to barber school or should I do an apprenticeship? I'm like, all day apprenticeship. Like, I absolutely believe learning in the barbershop next to somebody that's doing it is way better. And then I've taught enough. I've traveled enough to see that barber schools are failing us. I hear it all the time that I didn't learn anything in barber school, and I'm like, yeah, I know that's how it is. No, you don't get it. Yeah, I do get it. Like, that's just how it is. So, when you talk about some states doing away with licensing and things like that, I don't think that I'm for like doing away with license, but at the same time, if we had a guy locally that was cutting hair at the Motel 6 for $10, like, that's no threat to me. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, the board, honestly, that's like the only thing the board has ever done to protect us as licensed barbers. And I'm like, if somebody wants to go get a $10, I charge $75 now in the shop. So, like, we're talking about two totally different people. Like, that's just not a problem to me. So, I think there's a lot of industries that don't have licensing, like tattoo artists, for example. They do health department. That's it. And I think their work and how they operate speaks for themselves. And if it's a crap shop that's dirty, the people don't go there. And if it's nice and they're well presented, the people go there. I think we could operate like that. I think it would be okay. But I'm not saying I want to see it go away. But I also will say I don't see a ton of benefit from, barber schools aren't doing the job they should be.
Yeah.
I know in some states they never even see the barber board. So what's the point? So I don't know. That's a funny thing. But I will say in our state, you got to have a license. So get it, pay it every year, and you don't have to deal with nothing. So it's not that big of a headache. So I just kind of, pay my license every June and move on.
I hear you. I love it. Something that I also wanted to speak on, and I don't know how much you see that in your location, but the weeks and you saying that you now do barbershops. What is it that some of the things that Burbage when it comes to the barbershop, the owner of how he deals with, or hire certain people to work? Everybody is not coexisting and working. You say you built family base, like,
Yeah.
that. But what advice would you give wants to open up a shop and that type of what would maybe two advice give that?
My first advice is don't do it. No, I think it's important when you talk about opening a shop, why you want to open a shop. Because I'll be honest, if money's the answer, from my perspective, I have not made a ton of money from opening the shop. It does pay now. I've had it for 8 years. It took me getting to 13 barbers. Now I opened a second shop and took some of that income away, and it'll build back up. But if you want to get rich from a barbershop, I don't know. It's probably possible. But I would say in most scenarios, that's not going to be like a huge money maker. I know if you do commission, it can be better. But I think it's important just to know, why are you doing it? Why are you wanting to open a shop? For me, the shop I was at they had me held down. I couldn't do appointments. I couldn't raise my prices. I was staying late every day because I was so busy. And it was just a super old school shop. He was like, look, this is my shop. It's walk-in only. It's $15. That's it. And so I had to leave. If I hadn't left, I would not be sitting here today, right? Like, I had to leave. So I opened my shop to give myself and whoever else I brought on that place with no ceiling where they could take it wherever they wanted, right? Because that was what was important to me. And funny enough, I told you my guy told me, like, oh, you can take it wherever you want. And the first shop I work in, basically, I'm capped. Like, I'm busy every day and couldn't adjust. So I had to do it. My why for opening the shop was to give myself free reign to do whatever it was I was trying to do. Also, if I felt that way, when I got that friend or cousin or whoever that got their license, I wanted them to have a place that they could do that. That was my why. I've achieved that. It hasn't paid me a lot of money, but now I have a studio in the shop because I can do whatever I want in here, so that was my why. I think the hardest part is dealing with the barbers.
Yeah.
You got to deal with the public, and so sometimes that can be difficult. But ultimately, most of the problems with the public come from the barbers. So I think that's difficult. I don't really have an answer for that. Sometimes people aren't going to work out. Some people will. Obviously, you want to do your best to vet them before you hire them. But sometimes you got to just go with somebody, and if they don't work out, they don't work out. But that's another thing I see everywhere I go. How do you get barbers to come to work and work hard and keep their station clean? It's everywhere. So that's just what it is. You got a bunch of grown adults in there working. Some of them are lazy. Some of them are hard working. It's just what it's going to be. So I think if you want to open a shop, you just need to know that that's probably going to be in some capacity how it's going to be, and be ready to deal with that. I will give my best advice to finish that statement. I have gotten less headache for myself, and I think my barbers are happy the more I let them operate how they need to operate. So if they're not morning people, I stop getting on to them for being late. And all of a sudden, they're still late, but like they're happy now at work. They're not getting, you know, me in their ear every day or whatever it is. Just the micromanaging I kind of pull back on, as long as I'm not getting bad reviews or people are missing appointments because they're not here. You know, I still got my things that my things that got to be in line, and the rest of it I just let it run. And that took me a long time to get there.
I hear this, especially from you know, our older barbers that did a lot of more networking instead of just sitting in the shop.
Yep.
And I feel like our new barbers are more on social media than going out there and meeting people. Or they expect their bar owner to do
Yep.
thing and said it have to walk out the shop, move around the community, out cars, all that stuff. What did your on that? How do you feel like, you know, should be in the barber shop at 9, 7 a.m. in the morning to 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night? Or do you think that foot traffic be out, be more presentable?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it is about networking and connecting with people, and that's where your clientele can grow. I still think the strongest thing you can do is give a great experience and a great haircut to somebody, and they're going to either be asked about it or they're going to want to tell people because it was so good. Like that, still to this day, I believe is the number one way to gain clientele. And if you do it so good, you can ask the person to send you people, and they will. You know, they feel like they owe you. That's still ultimately, I think, the best way. And I was like, I'm just over 10 years in right now, so I'm old enough in the game to still have done business cards and stuff like that. But I also utilize Facebook more importantly. I'm big on Facebook being more local.
Okay.
My Instagram is totally barber stuff, brands and other barbers I connect with, and podcasts and whatever. So I don't post anything about, even when I was cutting in the shop, I never posted. I got openings on Instagram. Facebook is so local, and Facebook is so easily shareable. So I'm actually a pretty big fan of using Facebook because you can do something simple like, hey, share this post and I'm going to give away a free haircut. And you can get it out to 10,000 people in a couple hours just by people sharing it. But again, I think the best thing you can do is keep some cards on you when you're out to eat and your server comes up and he needs a haircut. You know, you shake his hand, you see face to face, and you hand him a card. That's still always going to work. You know, that's the face to face real connection. I think it's always going to work. But I think there should be some mixture of that, right?
Yeah.
Today is social media. That's what we do. But funny you asked that question because I got a shop full of people that don't do that anymore. They don't get out and try to give cards out. And a lot of them are good, but I always tell them, like, before you know it, you're going to lose a client here, lose a client here. You're going to wake up one day, you're going to be a little slow. So I still think that face-to-face is powerful, especially if you conduct yourself well. And, you know, you can sell yourself on that first introduction. They're like, man, I'm going to go check that guy out.
Yeah. I love now, and I spoke on it earlier that now we're in a world that we're battling. Like one week, probably like 30 to we go up to next week, be like, oh, now I'm at a 7. And then seeing now more that that are doing way over than what they really need. But they feel like if they do more, then they can charge. How do you feel about shooting your price rate and trying to overdo when you don't really?
Yeah, I think, you know, I learned this. I didn't learn a lot in barber school, right? I didn't learn a lot about cutting hair in barber school. A lot of the things that I still bring up that I'll say my teacher taught me are more like principles and ideas, are some good things that I used throughout my career. But one thing he taught me was that you should only be busy 80% of the time.
Yeah.
When you get to 100%, you need to raise your prices. So that's how I've always operated. It was never because I wanted to make more money. It was never because I thought I got new clippers or I took a class and I was better. and I'm going to charge more. I never charged more because I thought I should because of how good I was. I charged more because I was too busy and I had to eliminate some clients. And that also goes with, I didn't go up $2. I went up 10 or 15 every time, you know? I think that's how you should run it. I think, you know, I only know up close and personal what my guys have done. So I haven't seen too much, you know, there was stuff going around about barbers nowadays get out of barber school, get a ring light, some gloves, and try to charge $60. There's probably truth to that. And that's unfortunately one of the negatives of people seeing so much on social media and just thinking that's what it is, you know, like, but yeah, I think most of my guys have operated the same way. I think they saw me do it. And so as they got so busy, you know, when you start missing clients that are paying you more than, you know, say you're at 30 and your guy that pays you 40 misses out and you cutting that kid that's crying that doesn't even, and the mom doesn't tip.
Right.
That's when you're like, okay, I'm actually losing money right now because I'm too full. So you raise your price to 40, that mom and kid don't come back, and you get your buddy in that pays you 40, right? So I think that's how you should operate it. As far as seeing people charging too much and doing all that, I don't see a lot of that. But I will say I never added a bunch of services and new things on to be able to charge more. I just I've basically always included whatever you wanted in the service, but charged higher. And again, it kind of does the same thing. People that only get a 2 on the sides are like, man, that's not really worth me paying more. I'll go to this guy, and that's fine. But, you know, I'll do enhancements, designs, hair and beard. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, my slot is for my time. You're paying for my time. And I think more barbers should look at it that way and charge based off of time. Because, like, for example, people will charge 30 for a haircut, 35 for a hair and beard, and the beard takes you half the time of the haircut. Well, should it not be 45? You know, like, let's charge by the minute or by the half hour, whatever it is. Like, that makes more sense to me. And then you lose that pressure of feeling like you have to do a hot towel or the massager or a black mask or whatever to be able to charge more.
Correct. I love that. A lot of people that's tuning in, we have a comment box. So if you have any questions, be sure to make that comment box light so Sean can go in there and click in some of the questions that you guys have on mine. My next question for you, being in this industry for the particular time that you have been in, and how do you find your relaxation, you know, when everything you're dealing with, all your business, all your traveling, your platform, how do you sit for me to relax, have a mental release so I don't overdrive my overwhelm? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, right? That's the question I get most classes, most talks I give is like, how do you balance?
Yeah.
And Chris Bosio and Josh O.P. that I work with both have their own answer to this statement, but very similar. And it's what I say now. You know, there is no balance day to day. Like, I just got back from Texas at midnight last night. So I was gone for 2 days. I cannot see my family for 2 days. I can FaceTime them. That's it. So once I get home, you know, you got to put the attention where the attention needs to go. And you got to be conscious of that. So that's something I've had to improve on. You know, maybe the wife doesn't really tell me that she needs me to be home and she's frustrated, but I've had to start paying attention to those things. And then when I know I've been slacking on YouTube, hey, babe, I got to go do some video work, you know. So I've tried to just pay attention to where the attention needs to be. And one of the things I got from Josh is he says, at the end of the month, what does that balance look like? Because day to day, you can't do it.
Yeah.
I might be gone. I do 5-day courses every now and then. So that week is unbalanced.
Correct.
But the next week, do I take the time out to, you know, be at home with the family or whatever? So that wasn't exactly what you asked, but I've been fortunate. I will say I love what I do. I won't even say I love cutting hair. I do enjoy cutting hair, but I cut hair so I can be with people. Yeah. So when I was cutting hair full time, I love to be with my clientele, build relationships. Now I took that to teaching, and I love to go out, shake hands with people, get to know people, teach, and just give back. So I don't feel often that I need a break, which I'm fortunate with. But I also don't schedule myself too crazy. I've always tried to manage and balance it out so I don't hit that point. So, like for example, first of the year, I went down to 1 day a week in the shop because I started with Babyliss this year, which was going to in turn have more traveling. So I knew that, like, all right, I can't be gone with Babyliss this weekend, come home, cut 3 days in the shop, and then leave town again and not see the family. So like something had to give. So again, I've always been conscious of that, and I knew that I was going to be traveling more this year. So I cut my clientele way down and cut out the shop work. You know, I got like 15, 20 clients now. That's all I take care of. But I get a lot of time at home with the family. So I honestly, I'm blessed with that. I've set myself up to, if I'm not out of town, like I was at the house earlier, I told you I'd do this. I drove up to the shop. I'll hop on this when we get done. I'll head back to the house. So I'm fortunate to have set that up for myself. And I love what I do. So I don't really feel like I need a break. I get to go a lot of cool places too. So I don't need a getaway too bad.
Yeah, I heard that from 360 G's. They asked him, he was on somebody's platform. They asked him the same question. Like, for all the video, YouTube and stuff. And do you get, like, do you feel like you need to like slow up everything? No, I love what I do. Well, I guess when you and you know it doesn't overwhelming. For you right now, if you had a chance to go back and talk to that 6-year-old, 15-year, 18-year-old, what would you tell them? Especially with everything that you would you let that same road, or like, hey, you go this street right, open that door. This is what it can be.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, right? Like I'm definitely a believer in, you know, everything happened how it was supposed to. So, you know, I say all the time, like I just got a barber that started fresh out of high school. He was cutting while he was in high school, and he's fire. Like honestly, the best barber out of school that I've had yet, and I've had probably 20 at this point, way better than I was. And so it's easy to think like, man, I wish I would have done that. But you know, like there's a lot of principles about how I operate, how I run my business that I learned from some of those first jobs that I had. So if I had anything I would say to my younger self, it would be just to do stuff. Don't overthink it. Don't wait. I've learned now at this age to just go after it. But I didn't start YouTube for probably almost 3 years. I was wanting to do it and didn't do it. I'd have 500K right now.
Yeah.
Like I know how it works, and I would have 500K right now, but I didn't because I was waiting for something. And it's the same advice I give everybody that comes up and asks me, like, what advice do you have for somebody who wants to do content? Record something and post it. That's my advice. Like, you know what I mean? So I think I would just tell myself, like, don't spend too much time. You know, it's something you learn as you mature and get older. Everything's always ends up okay. You know, just sometimes you might mess up. Sometimes it might not be what you want, but it'll be all right, and you just move on. So I think when we're younger, we overthink stuff. We have fears that are irrational. And, you know, it just keeps us from maybe doing what we should be doing. So I think that's what I would tell myself. Just you get something, a thought or an idea or whatever, just go after it and figure it out.
I hear, are you hearing me clearly? Because some people saying the audio is kind of choppy. Is it the choppy one?
I hear you good now, but it has been a little bit.
Okay, because some people say we should log out and log in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, my next question was like, you know, for yourself, especially now, like having 2 businesses and taking on new events and stuff that you're doing. Do you ever have that if factor? Do you have that worry if factor? Like, maybe I shouldn't be doing it, right? How is this really going to turn out for me? Should I really take a chance on this? Do you have those moments with you?
Yeah, I think naturally everybody has it a little bit.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't like talking about myself too much. But my dad does counseling, right? So he does this counseling that's based on your temperament, which is what he would explain is your temperament never changes. Your personality can change. If I'm talking to you, I can be one way. When I'm with my wife, I'm a little bit different. When I'm with the boys, I'm a little different. That's like personality. Temperament never changes. And so one day we were talking about something, and I said, "Look, can I ask you something?" I was like, "I don't want to sound cocky. I just have a question. Like everything I try, I figure out, and I end up being pretty good at it.
Okay.
Like I wanted to cut hair, I'm pretty good at it. I wanted to learn how to do video and edit. I'm pretty good at whatever it is." And he said, "Well, your temperament doesn't see failure as an option.
Okay.
You go into everything that you're going to do already looking at when I figure it out or when it works or like you only see the possibility of it working. Where a lot of people will stop themselves because they see that risk or that chance of failure. So honestly, I don't have too much of that. Fortunately for me, I got some people that have done a lot in the industry that know a lot of things. And so when I get to those crossroads, I get plenty of, insight from some people that have done a lot and know a lot. And so I'm fortunate to have that, but I haven't had too much of that, to be honest.
I know this is something that we kind of shy away from, but I think it's very important that, we share our experience and our journey on this, especially you having a shop and doing the things that you're doing, especially being with your family and trying to make sure that everything is level, the financial part when it comes to our business. How do you structure your finances, making sure that everything is always set in order?
Yeah, so that's funny you asked that. I just got back from Texas, like I said, and I shared the class with one of my close friends, Nate, and he does just a talk. He doesn't even cut hair. He has like a talk that's about building clientele and a lot of that side of it, but then also the money side. And Tomb 45 kind of created a brand that's an accounting firm for barbers. And I started with them probably 2.5 years ago. So now I'm much more structured. But up until then, I was just running, I had a business bank account, but that was it. So booth rent went in there. As I started, I got YouTube, I got a barbershop, I got a couple brands I was working with. I ended up with like 6, 7 income streams.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point where I realized how important it was that I was paying attention. Because here I was making more money, but it was still gone at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I can't operate that way. I'm doing all this work and I'm trying to grow, but I got nothing left. So I started with pie accounting probably it's like 2.5 years ago. So I actually have an S corporation now. So I'm an employee of my own S corporation, and I get a paycheck every month. So my taxes get paid out of my paycheck, just like if I was like technically I'm W-2 to myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I pay taxes monthly now. It organizes everything. It also you're taxed differently. I told it yesterday at the class, like essentially, like I'm not a professional, so don't write this down as fact, but this is just give you an idea, like if you make 100K and you're a sole proprietor, which means you just file as yourself.
Yeah.
You get the full income tax, all the taxes, right? So say you pay 35 grand in. So if you're an S corp and you make 100, but you pay yourself 60, you only get fully taxed on the 60.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 40 gets taxed lighter, and it can save you $10,000, $15,000 in taxes. So I'm at that point now. I have all that set up. I'm the employee. Pay taxes throughout. At the end of the year, I have a very small tax bill, which is nice. I used to save up 10, 12 grand at the end of the year to pay,
Right.
So,
yeah.
And that's what we talked about in that talk yesterday is a lot of barbers just think they're doing themselves a favor, hiding their money, taking cash only. And, I hate to even say, when you're young and you ain't got nothing going on, it's probably okay. But as you get older with a family, you want to buy a house, you want to get that nice car, whatever it is, they're going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
Like, I went to get a house the first year when I hadn't had that going yet. And they were like, nah, we can give you 100,000. Like, that's it, which is not going to get you a house these days. Very, very decent. So it's very important. And, you know, I can speak from experience. When I signed up, it was $350 a month. And I thought, $350 a month? And they promised me if I did it after a year, I would have more in my bank account than I ever had left over, and I wouldn't owe any taxes. And that was how it went. So yeah. I wouldn't change anything. It's a great setup, and definitely putting me and my family in a better position than I was before.
Hey, I love that you shared that, because you know I've been seeing that a lot, where people still they don't want to use some of these, like, you know, Zelle or Cash App or Venmo, yeah, because it shows, you know, you taking a transaction. They just want to take cash. And then, like you said, you know, if you're young and you're starting out, it might be okay because, you know, you're still trying to figure things out. But if you up in age and you want to show longevity and you want to build something, you got to show the record. So I'm glad that you spoke on that. Another thing, you know, I've been seeing where barbers are maybe clashing with each other is because we have professionals that are barbers, and then we have people that just haircut, that, you know, go to work, they drink in, maybe smoking, they don't have a good rapport with their customers, and then you have the barber that come in and want to set up, want to show their business, want to show growth and stuff like that. How would you balance that, knowing that, like I said, you being a shop owner, how do you eye someone that is a barber trying to be a professional barber, and someone just want to walk in and say, hey, I just want to cut hair?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's the hardest part of running a barbershop. I think ultimately you're going to have both. I think it's just life, you know, like, another thing my dad said, my dad's a wise old man. I would get frustrated about that, right? Because I was the one that you're talking about. I wanted to build my business. I wanted to be professional. I wanted to have a clean station. And other people weren't, they didn't care as much. And I remember he told me if they were all like you, you would be average. Yeah. And so in some aspects, it's okay to have those people around, because the people that want it are going to be able to get it. Yeah. And if we all wanted it, we was all fighting, then it'd be a lot harder, right? Yeah. So it takes some of those people that are a little bit lazy or whatever. But with that being said, it can't be detrimental to the shop, to the business. Right. So if somebody's so unprofessional, you know, they're coming in smelling like weed, they're cussing too loud, or whatever it is that you don't like, you don't want your business to run like, you know, that's got to be handled. But I think it's acceptable to have somebody that is just doing it for some money, and it's just a job, because that's just how it is. I mean, I think I don't know percentage wise, but I'm sure there's plenty of barbers out there that's just what it is. Yeah. And then you got a handful of people that really take it seriously. So I mean, I could go through my shop and kind of tell you who's who. And it's fine, you know, like there's some that really want to be booked out. They want to make a lot of money. They want to, you know, take it serious. They're on time. And then there's some that is a little more chill, and they're doing okay, and they're happy with that. So like, who am I to tell them that that's the wrong way to operate, as long as it's not hurting my business? So,
right now, and I know you already have a lot on your plate, but where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? What is it, something that you really want to accomplish in the next 3 years, which you probably already working on it right now?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I just turned 37, and my goal is by 40 to not be in the shop at all.
Okay.
So and that's a hard thing I don't know how that's going to land yet, because obviously if I'm going to keep doing YouTube content, I got to be in the shop a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know what that means exactly, but my goal from now until the next 3 years, by 40, I want to have like both shops rolling. So that's some income, and, you know, maybe still be traveling with 245 or Babylist or whoever. But I want to basically like retire as a barber, and I'll still teach, and I'll still, you know, do whatever I have to do, following whatever obligations I have. But my goal is by 40 to kind of be out of the game as far as like cutting clients, which I'm pretty close now. Like I said, I got like 20 right now. So I'm really right now currently looking at what kind of, not side gig, but like what can my next little venture be that I can turn into some recurring, passive income, so that I'm wanting to be home with the family, man. I'm old for having young kids, and they're gonna start playing ball and
Yeah,
doing things, and I want to
going
be
to
there
be
for
there.
that. So
Yeah,
yeah, so unfortunately, I'm in position I can do that. So I'm just trying to figure out where I can get that passive income rolling in over the next couple of years, and then just kind of enjoy life.
yeah. Someone that wrote something that you had spoke on earlier, and they said, "Is barber school worth it?" Which you said barber school you can learn, but you not be able to really learn how to cut as much as if you be at a shop that you know has apprenticeship that will allow you to be around other barbers and see what they do and kind of help elevate your skills. If you want to share that a little bit more and talk about your experience on that.
Yeah, no, I just had something come to me
Yeah,
that's the best way I've ever put it. But I think you should think of barber school as like a basketball court.
yeah,
It's just sitting there.
right.
If you just go sit there, you're not going to get no better.
Hmm.
But it's a place for you to, again, you're going to get out what you put in. So unfortunately, some schools aren't very busy, but you can be studying other ways, right? You can be messing around on mannequins or whatever. Um, but I think we just need to accept that barber school is not going to teach you everything.
Hmm.
I have some people tell me that they love their barber school and they learned a lot, and I tell them that's great. I love to hear it.
Hmm.
But for most people, that's not the case. So I think barber school is an avenue for you to learn as much as you can in whatever way that you can while you're there. Regardless, if you don't learn nothing but you get your license, cool. That's what it's for.
Yeah,
Like I think it's not acceptable,
yeah,
but it is what it is. Like,
yeah,
just go. I used to tell people it's like serving a 10-month deal. Like I had concrete floor, white wall, bland, boring, awful looking barber school, and we sat there all day. I mean, it literally was like just serving some time.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, but if that's what I got to do to get the piece of paper at the end, and then your career takes off. And then regardless, I think how good your school was, how much hair you cut, that first month in the shop is going to be like way more than what you did the whole time in barber school.
All
So
right.
just get to that point. I think that's what's important.
I also want to tackle this a little bit for people that are coming out of barber school and trying to figure out what might be the best barber shop for them. How did you go about doing that? Like when you decided, like, hey, I want to go to a barber school. I know you said you already kind of had someone that was a friend that introduced you to someone, and then you kind of just went under its wing. But for someone that's just coming out of school and don't know what shop they would want to work under, like what would be the steps that you would think they should take?
We always tell people because that's something we deal with a lot. Like all my team that teaches beginner barbers, that's a question we get a lot. I think for one, like I think you only know the vibe or the type of environment that you're going to thrive in, right? Like where I would want to go, what things that may speak to me may not be what you're looking for. But we always tell people like go get a haircut.
Yeah.
On your last few months
Yeah.
in school, go get a haircut at every shop in town. That's like 45 minutes that you can sit there and observe. And then, once you kind of narrow it down, like go chat with the owner.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to in 5 to 10 minutes pick up on whether this seems like it may be a good fit or not. Like
Right.
I think you should be able to. If you leave feeling like I didn't really like how he was talking to me, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
shop,
Yeah.
they were kind of rude when I came in. And
Yeah.
I know that ain't where I'm going. Like,
Correct.
and if you go to the shop they're super nice, and the owner's like, man, what do you want to do? Oh, I'm on fire, man. I want to get busy and and all right, and he loves it. Then that's where you need to be. So I think it's simpler than people make it. But also, hey, if you pick one and it's not it, that's all right. You know,
Yeah.
like you're not locked in for life just because that's where you started. So I think you should just be able to read the room, try to spend some time in some different shops, and feel where it feels like it'll be comfortable for you. Obviously, they gotta have a chair and offer you a spot, but I can always tell when I talk with people. I can always tell if they're my type of
Yeah.
person or not.
That's another thing. I know when I was in school when I first started, I was trying to buy every clipper on the mat. what would you give? What advice would you give? You know, people that's going to school and they seeing everybody with all these fancy clippers,
Yeah.
but they're not really honing in on their craft, but they just want to have a fancy clipper in their hand and look good. What would you
Yeah.
tell them?
I mean, I was
Yeah.
that guy, right? It's funny, right? Like I said, I wish I could go back because
Yeah.
it's been so long. I don't remember the specifics. But I bought the FX3 babyless clipper in barber school. It was like almost $300, and I was broke. So I don't even know how I did that. But I was that guy. Like I had a bunch of clippers. I was buying new stuff, travel cases. I mean, I had everything. So I think it's in our nature a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I think most of us just like that. That's why Babyless has all these different
I
colors.
know.
People talk all the time. They're
I
all
love
the
the wall
same.
setup. Yeah.
Yeah, they are all the same.
Yeah.
But if you like blue, you
Right.
want these. If you like gold, you know, like that's the point. Because we are like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's just something that's going to be. You know, I think most of us do that. But I think it's important to understand that at the end of the day, it's not about the clippers so much.
Yeah.
It is important to have decent clippers,
Yeah.
and to know it's more important that you know your tools you're using than what those tools actually are. Obviously, now I use strictly Babyless, which I see a comment that I want to discuss. But before that, I did Walmart clipper videos, and the haircut looked good. Like,
I've seen it. Yeah.
if you know how to cut, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So just don't get hung up on. As long as you're not thinking, if I buy this new certain clipper, I'm going to be better, then I don't think it's a problem. I think naturally we all like to have cool stuff and the newest stuff, and same with clothing and shoes and all that. So I don't think that's going to go away. But I think we need to just understand that it's not. You're not going to instantly improve because you get these new tools. You know, so.
For something I've seen recently, as far as like how you carry yourself in the shop and the way you present yourself, as far as like your dress code and stuff like that. Do you think we should go back to the mock and just the regular solid all black colors, or do you think that we should, since we're in an area where it's more fashionable now, people, sometimes the clientele, the demographic or the age group, they go by what you wearing in the shop. Like, oh, he got this on, he got that on. I know he gonna make me look fly. How you feel about that? Those kind of like, because I know back then we was like you had to come in and dress like the core.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I was never in that boat, but that first shop I was in did have matching smocks that we all had to wear. And I'm not opposed to that, but I think the beauty of our industry is that we can all be, ourselves. And I encourage my barbers I want them to decorate their stations with what they're about so that their clients can connect with, like, oh, you're a whatever team fan, I'm a fan, or like, I like your shoes, I'm a shoe guy. Like, that's part of, if you come in my studio, you get a pretty good glimpse of like who I am based off of what I got around. And you know what I mean? So I think sometimes the worst thing we can do in jobs and in whatever scenarios is take away that individual. That's what makes us all different. I want to look, man, I look crazy when I worked in my previous jobs. That's why I love this job. So I'm not going to make somebody not be able to dress how they want and be themselves. And I think that, ultimately you're going to attract clientele that vibe with you. So you should be being yourself. I don't want to cover that up. So I think that's important. I'm also not opposed if a shop owner likes the idea of being super well dressed and everybody's in the shirt and ties or whatever it is. If that's your thing, by all means. That's not my thing. We look like a tattoo garage skate shop in my shop, and that's how we run, and it fits. So I think to each their own, but I appreciate people being themselves and giving them a place to do that.
I love it. I'm not going to take too much more of your time. This was a great interview. I really do appreciate you coming aboard and sitting down with me and then chopping it up. I want you to, let people know what you got going on, what you got coming up next, what other expo or whatever teaching class area you're going to be in. The next YouTube post you about to put up, talk about everything. Let them know.
Man, I'm actually actually slowing down a little bit for the end of the year.
Okay.
So I think we're doing BarberCon Phoenix is coming up.
Okay.
October, it's in October, maybe mid-October. I will be at BarberCon Phoenix, and that's all I have on the schedule for the rest of the year. So we just kind of hit a bunch of them all at once. So I've been busy. So I'm slowing down. I will still be dropping YouTube content. I'm doing a lot more Instagram these days.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to kind of slowing down. I've been feeling more tired than I'm used to feeling from traveling. It's actually been kind of kicking my butt lately.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to slowing down. I know I am supposed to be going to Tampa soon. Excuse me. Josh O.P. has his academy, and Tomb 45. We're all kind of connecting and creating some content, some new stuff. Honestly, I don't even know really what, or I would tell you. But we're just kind of doing some new collaborations, I'm coming in to create some content for it. We're bringing in some of the other educators. So I will be doing that soon. And I think I will be at the Tampa 5-day DFS class that Josh is doing in November, I believe. So that's the class to go to. That's the whole Tomb 45 team lives down there. So that's the class. If you take it, Bassio's jumping in. Yeah. Josh will be there. I'm coming down. The whole team will be there for that because it's Tampa. Yeah. But other than that, man, I'm chilling. I'm slowing down.
All right. Well, like I said,
hey, I want to hit something before we get off here. I want to hit on something.
Yeah.
So, and this ain't even that negative of a comment, but somebody said go back to reviewing other tools, and you kind of asked earlier something about when you have these decisions coming up, how do you navigate? Man, is this the right thing to do? Whatever. Yeah. Obviously, yeah. Last year and before, I used to review everything. I had built a relationship with all the guys at Babelist. All the educators are friends of mine. Yeah. Just a genuine connection. Tomb 45 and Babelist are close. Yeah. And so when it was mentioned that potentially they would sign me as an educator, I was shocked. Yeah. And I'll say this. I would not have signed with anybody else and gave up using Babelist tools. But I was willing to sign with Babelist and give up using everything else. And that's not to knock anybody else. Yeah. I like plenty of other tools that I've used. No problem with them. All those companies have always been cool to me. But if there was one that I was willing to lock in with, it was Babelist. And it's just their mission statement goes behind how I operate. They literally told me, we want you on the team because you care about educating others, not trying to be famous. Correct. You want to get up there and educate. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to be I'm not the cool guy. I don't like being on stage, to be honest. But so a lot of people, to be honest, I haven't got a lot of flack about that, but I definitely have gotten plenty of comments. Oh, your YouTube channel was better before you signed with Babelist, or you sold out, or whatever. And, I don't have to explain myself. You don't. But I do want people to know, all of us want to, well, not all of us, but we all still want to keep elevating, right? And so to me, Babelist is the top brand. You can even just go money-wise. It's the biggest company in the whole industry. Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. It's a big deal. And when I look around, again, I know some educators from other brands, good friends of mine. This is not a dig at them. But, if you look at the Babelist team, I mean, it's the biggest people in the industry. Yeah, it is. And so when they asked me to join, are you kidding? That's like being an athlete and Nike calling. Right. Right. But if New Balance called or Skechers called, you might hold out because you want that Nike deal, right? It's the same thing. So, I went into that, kind of back to your question earlier. I went into that you know what? If somebody doesn't, I remember my wife asked me that. If somebody doesn't mess with me because I signed with Babelist, then they're not the type of person that I want as a follower, as a subscriber, as a fan, as a friend, or whatever. Because I'm just leveling up my career. That's what it was. Yeah. Now I have another platform to teach in front of people and another group of people to grow from. Are you kidding me? I got in the team. I'm getting to learn from Lost and Sophie, and these are the people that have been doing it and are doing it great. Yeah. And my favorite quote is surround yourself with 5 millionaires, you'll be the next. Right. That type of thing or whatever. Yeah. And so it was right on time for me. I had worked my way up with Tomb 45 to the lead guy. Now I was the top guy helping all the others, and I'm always wanting to grow. So that's what it was. I got to sign with a very big, awesome, very welcoming team with some of the best people that do so many different things that I can soak up and build myself up now and learn more. So it's absolutely a step forward. I understand people that love my reviews for other companies and stuff, and there's still other people reviewing clippers. So I get it, and if you're mad at me, that's all right. But I've had absolutely the best year working with them. I have zero complaints. It has been phenomenal. So I just wanted to hit on that real quick because that's something I hear a lot.
No, I'm glad that you shared that and you went into depth on that. You know, because like you said, everybody has a turn point, everybody has a mark, and when they feel like they can connect with a company and grow together and establish something that feels like unity, then yeah, you want to take that next step. And I get what you did, and I don't fault you on it. And I rock with Hawk, so
Hawk,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I get it. So yeah, man. Like I said, I don't want to take no more of your time. I would love to have you on my platform again and later in the future if you're available and got something else that you want to get on here and want to speak about. But honestly, to meet you in Vegas, to see what you did on the stage, you know your haircuts is phenomenal. Your personality is dope, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to have you on my platform.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. You just let me know. We'll do
All
it
right,
again.
man. Have a great one.
All right. Yep. Later.
Later.